Hello and welcome to the English Bulletin of IPR Department. I'm Chiring Eden. Let's look at some of the news that have been making headlines. As per the latest update on COVID-19 figures provided by the State Health Department, a total of 9 positive cases were reported on Sunday. This takes the total active cases to 534, total cured and discharged to 1,371. Cumulative total stands at 1,910. A total of 43,345 tests have been conducted so far. To present a breakup of the 9 positive cases reported, 3 tested positive on RT-PCR from this group. 2 are from 5th Mile Tadong area and 1 from Sikkim Police Quarter. 2 tested positive on TrueNat. 1 is from Sai Mandir area Bojogari and 1 from Jortang area. Remaining 4 tested positive on rapid antigen testing, out of which 1 is from Bypass Road, 1 from Daragaon Meteorological Building, 1 from Nimtar below school area and 1 from Shantinagar Singtam. The inaugural program of Rashtriya Poshan Maah under Poshan Abhiyan scheme was held at Social Justice and Welfare Department today. The entire month of September is being celebrated as the National Nutrition Month. Various activities such as essay writing, drawing and painting competitions will be held across the state with the sole intention of taking the messages of Poshan or nutritional diet to the grassroots level. The inaugural program was graced by Secretary IPR Department Namrata Thapa as the chief guest. The function also had the presence of Principal Director ICDS Puchung Bhutia and other officials of Social Justice and Welfare Department and also from the State Health Department. Speaking on the occasion, Secretary IPR highlighted on the vital role played by women and children in making the state and country malnutrition free. She added that IPR Department would fully render support and provide assistance in disseminating information and sensitizing public regarding the importance of Poshan Abhiyan. Poshan Pledge was also administered by the chief guest during the program. A brief program to commemorate the Teachers' Day 2020 was organized in a subdued manner at the conference hall of the Education Department on Saturday. The event was attended by Minister for Education Kunganima Lepcha alongside MP Subba, Advisor Education Department, Additional Chief Secretary GP Upadhyay, Secretary Anil Rajrai along with all directors and additional directors of the department. Speaking on the occasion, Minister KN Lepcha expressed his happiness that despite many protocols to be observed, a small but well-planned program was organized. While acknowledging the efforts and hard work put in by the teachers during the lockdown, he mentioned that it is time for decentralization and devolution of powers and functions in order to empower the districts. He also said that discussion and deliberation on National Education Policy 2020 are underway and a meeting will be conducted on September 8th to work out action plan by respective directorates for framing policy. This year, government has conferred the state awards upon 8 teachers and commendation awards on 15 teachers. Meanwhile, 2 teachers have already been selected to receive the national award. The Indian Army extended a helping hand to 3 Chinese citizens who had lost their way in plateau area of North Sikkim at an altitude of 17,500 feet on September 3rd. Realizing danger to the lives of the Chinese citizens, which included 2 men and 1 woman in sub-zero temperatures, the soldiers of Indian Army immediately reached out and provided medical assistance, including oxygen, food and warm clothes to protect them from the vagaries of extreme altitude and harsh climatic conditions, an Army press release informs. The Indian troops also gave them appropriate guidance to reach their destination, after which they moved back. The Chinese citizens expressed their gratitude to India and the Indian Army for their prompt assistance, the release mentions. Union Minister for Sports and Youth Affairs RIJIJU launched the Enjogo football training mobile application for children through an online webinar on Friday afternoon. The mobile application, developed by the Bhaichung Bhutia football schools, has stated the aim was to make football education accessible to every boy and girl in the country and create platforms and pathways for their growth and development. During the online launch ceremony, Managing Director of BBFS and former Indian striker Bhaichung Bhutia was of the opinion that the app will give players a platform to train and learn utilizing professional methods. The app, launched during the time of COVID pandemic, is not just for children but for professional footballers and national team players as well. During the webinar, Union Minister RIJIJU highlighted how the government is working for the upliftment of sports in the country and also towards making India a sports nation. India has surpassed Brazil to become the second worst hit in the country by coronavirus pandemic, with a record daily spike of 90,802 cases, taking the country's tally past 42 lakhs. Health Ministry data showed this morning. This is the second consecutive day that the country registered over 90,000 new infections in 24 hours. About 8.82 lakh cases in the country are active, and the recovery rate stood at 77%. The United States, which has the highest number of COVID-19 cases in the world, has over 62.75 lakh COVID infections so far, about 20 lakhs more than India. The new educational policy will focus more on learning instead of studying, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said as he addressed the inaugural session of the Governors' Conference on the National Education Policy on Sunday. Titled Role of NEP 2020 in Transforming Higher Education, the conference is being organized by the Ministry of Education and is being attended by education ministers of all states, vice-chancellors of state universities and other senior officials. Webinars, virtual conferences and conclaves are being conducted on a number of aspects of the National Education Policy. The Ministry of Education and University Grants Commission had earlier conducted the conclave on transformational reforms in higher education under the NEP 2020, which was also addressed by the Prime Minister. In what could possibly the world's largest and fastest ever operation of its kind, UNICEF has announced that it will be leading the procurement and supply of coronavirus vaccines to ensure that all countries have safe, fast and equitable access to initial doses when they are available. The United Nations Children's Fund is the world's largest single vaccine buyer, procuring more than 2 billion doses of various vaccines annually for routine immunization and outbreak response on behalf of nearly 100 countries. With several vaccine candidates showing promise, the UN agency, in collaboration with the revolving fund of the Pan American Health Organization, will lead efforts to procure and supply doses of the COVID-19 vaccines on behalf of the COVAX Global Vaccines Facility for 92 lower and lower middle income countries whose vaccine purchases will be supported by the mechanism. UNICEF will also serve as procurement coordinator to support purchases by higher income economies which have expressed their intent to participate in the COVAX facility and would finance the vaccines from their own budgets. The vaccine procurement and distribution effort, involving more than 180 economies, has the potential to become the world's largest and fastest ever operation of its kind. Now, in other news, Tokyo's postponed Olympics will go ahead next year regardless of the coronavirus pandemic. IOC Vice President John Coates said this morning, saying that they would be the games that conquered COVID. The Olympics have never been cancelled outside the world wars, and Coates was adamant that the Tokyo Games will start on revised date. It will take place with or without COVID. The Games will start on July 23rd next year, said Coates, who heads the International Olympic Committee's Coordination Commission for the Tokyo Games. In an historic decision, the 2020 Olympics were postponed because of the global march of the pandemic, and they are now set to open on July 23rd, 2021. But Japan's borders are still largely closed to foreign visitors, and a vaccine is months or even years away, feeding speculation about whether the games are feasible or not. Japanese officials have made it clear they would not delay the games a second time beyond 2021. A recent poll, however, found just 1 in 4 people in Japan want them to go ahead next year, with most backing either another postponement or a cancellation. That is all we have for today. Please like and follow our Facebook page, that is Government of Sikkim official page, for the most authentic news and information on recent developments in the government and the state. IPR has also started hosting podcasts on SoundCloud. Please follow IPR Podcast Facebook page for more updates. Thank you for tuning in.